They call it the trip of a lifetime, a floating city, a week of sunsets, buffets, and the promise of leaving your worries somewhere back on the dock. But what if the trip of a lifetime is also one of the biggest traps in modern travel? Because behind every smiling waiter and sparkling pool, there's a price tag that's been polished to look invisible. And if you've ever stepped onto a cruise ship, chances are you've already fallen for at least one of these. Tonight we set sail into the world of cruise rip-offs, the hidden costs, the clever marketing, and the quiet ways your dream vacation turns into a floating cash machine. The story always begins the same way. You're scrolling online, tired from work, and there it is, an ad that seems too good to be true. 7-night Caribbean cruise, only $499. The turquoise water, the champagne glasses, the smiling couples. It's perfect, and it's the first hook in a very well-designed net, because that $499 isn't your ticket to paradise. It's your entry fee into a world where almost everything else costs extra. From here on, the cruise line has one mission: make you feel relaxed enough to spend money you never planned to. It starts before you even board. The base fare you saw online doesn't include port taxes, service charges, or those mandatory gratuities that appear like fine print ghosts. By the time you've paid the real total, your $499 getaway has already climbed to $900 or more, and you haven't even left the harbor. But you tell yourself it's fine, you deserve this, and maybe you do. Until the next surprise shows up in the form of a plastic card, your cruise ID, your key to the cabin, and your wallet for the week. It's convenient, right? No cash, no credit card, just tap and enjoy. Except that convenience is exactly how people end up spending double what they thought they would. Because when every cocktail, coffee, or souvenir is just a tap away, it stops feeling like real money. It's the floating version of a casino: no clocks, no receipts, just the sound of approved. By the third day, your spending doesn't even register. A few drinks here, a spa pass there. You're on vacation. What's another $30? Until the last night, when the statement appears under your cabin door, a cold, itemized reminder that you've just been gently upsold for 7 straight days. But that's only the beginning. Because once you're on board, the ship itself is designed to guide your wallet. Take the drinks package, for example. It's marketed as a money saver. Pay once, drink unlimited, except unlimited. Comes with fine print. There's a daily drink cap, excluded brands, and service fees on every single pour. If you don't hit the minimum number of drinks per day, you're actually losing money. But psychology beats math. So you drink anyway because you already paid for it. That's not vacation freedom, that's behavioral design. Then there's the Wi-Fi. In a world where coffee shops give it for free, cruise lines still charge by the minute, sometimes up to $30 a day. Why? Because they know you'll pay it. You'll tell yourself it's for checking in with family or posting a sunset photo. But in reality, it's digital FOMO, tax the price of not being able to disconnect. And then there's the shore excursions. Every port promises adventure: snorkeling with sea turtles, zip lining through rainforests, walking ancient ruins. But here's the secret the cruise companies won't tell you. They don't run those tours. They simply mark them up, often by 40 to 60% for the same trips you could book directly from a local operator. It's convenience at a premium. You think you're buying safety and reliability, but really you're paying for a middleman. A middleman who already collected your gratuity. And the deeper you go, the more you notice how every exclusive perk has a cost attached. The adult-only retreat, $180 per person per day. The chef's table dinner, $120 for a few small plates and a photo with the head chef. The premium coffee bar, the same espresso you'd get on land, but triple the price. Even the onboard art auctions, those champagne-filled events that feel glamorous, are elaborate sales pitches designed to move low-value prints at luxury prices. By now, you start realizing something. This isn't a ship. It's a floating mall disguised as paradise. Still, not every rip-off is obvious. Some are engineered to feel like upgrades, a quiet manipulation of expectations. Take the cabins. Most cruise lines display the most luxurious suites first. Panoramic windows, balcony views, private butlers, that's called anchoring. Once you've seen the best, everything cheaper feels like a compromise. So when the website says, upgrade to a balcony for just $300 more, you click because it feels like a deal, but that's not generosity, that's calculated temptation, because your upgrade didn't cost the cruise line much more to provide. The profit margin on that balcony cabin can exceed 70%. And here's the secret few passengers realize. Many ships leave with unsold premium cabins, so last-minute travelers often get those upgrades free. Meanwhile, early bookers, the ones who thought they were being smart, paid full price for the illusion of scarcity. The psychology runs deep. Even the photography stations scattered across the ship, friendly crew taking your picture at dinner, by the pool, during excursions. They feel harmless until you see the price tag, $25 per digital photo. That complimentary memory isn't a gift, it's an upsell wrapped in a smile. And the spa specials, they're timed for port days when fewer passengers are on board. The discounts sound generous, but the treatments are shortened, and every session ends with a sales pitch for overpriced beauty products. It's a perfectly tuned ecosystem of spending. You're not just on vacation, you're inside a system designed to turn relaxation into revenue. Soft music fades in melancholy but calm, and yet people keep coming back. Every year, millions of passengers board again, smiling, sipping, telling themselves this time will be different. Because, for all its manipulation, the cruise industry has mastered something powerful. It sells not just a trip, but a feeling, the illusion of freedom. The freedom to eat, drink, and explore without consequence. The freedom to forget the bill until you're already home. But freedom with a price tag isn't freedom at all. Camera pans over the glowing lights of a cruise ship cutting through the dark ocean. You can't really blame the passengers. We all want a little escape, something easy, controlled, beautiful, and the cruise lines know that. They've built an empire around it. They call it hospitality, but you can call it what it truly is, the art of the gentle rip-off. Morning on a cruise ship feels like possibility. The smell of coffee drifting from the cafe, sunlight bouncing off the water, the faint chime of the captain's morning announcement. It's peaceful, it's polished. And it's still part of the plan, because that quiet serenity, it's the prelude to another day of subtle persuasion. Every sign you'll see, every flyer, every smiling staff member handing out a special offer, is another turn of the invisible gears that keep the ship's economy spinning. Onboard spending is what keeps these floating cities alive. In fact, for most major cruise lines, the money made after passengers board now outweighs the money made from ticket sales themselves. They don't need you to pay once. They need you to keep paying quietly all week long. The first sound of that system waking up comes from the atrium. The boutiques open. The jewelry counters sparkle under bright white light. You'll hear a cheerful announcement. Today only duty-free sale. Luxury watches up to 60% off. The words duty-free sound like victory, as if you've outsmarted the taxman. But those bright little signs hide a truth. Many of the so-called discounts are calculated against inflated original prices that never existed. Even at 60% off, you may be paying the same amount you'd pay in any big city department store, but you're at sea, relaxed, slightly buzzed from the sun and champagne. You're primed to believe the bargain is real. The cruise line's retail strategy is built on emotion, not necessity. They sell you the feeling that you've earned something rare, a diamond necklace to commemorate the trip, a designer bag that will remind you of freedom. It's not a sale, it's a souvenir for the ego, and they know exactly when to catch you. Late afternoon, when the shore excursions are over, when passengers are drifting back on board with salt, dried hair, and half-empty wallets, the shopping decks come alive. Announcements flood the speakers. One night only, collector's event, complimentary champagne. The champagne is real. The collector's event is a sales funnel. Music softens, more intimate. Then comes the casino. Every cruise ship has one, a glowing, low-ceilinged room with no clocks, no windows, and no shortage of smiles. It doesn't matter that the ship is rocking gently. Inside, the roulette wheels spin perfectly still. The casino opens the moment the ship crosses into international waters. It's no coincidence. That's when local gambling laws no longer apply, and the odds, they're not the same as on land. Cruise casinos often use modified machines with lower pay. Outrates something most passengers will never know. You don't notice because the drinks are free, the lights are warm, and the noise is hypnotic. You'll think you're up $50. You're probably down $200. But in that moment, you'll laugh, you'll tip the dealer, and you'll tell yourself, it's all part of the fun. That's the point. It's not about taking all your money at once. It's about letting you enjoy losing it. Ambient piano fades in slow, reflective the next subtle rip. Off isn't about gambling. It's about generosity. You've seen it, that tidy little line on your onboard statement, labeled service charge. It's usually around $15 to $20 per person per day. You're told it's for the hardworking crew, a way to guarantee fair pay. But what you're rarely told is how much of it actually reaches them. Some cruise lines distribute it fairly. Others keep a percentage as administrative fees. And if you decide to tip someone directly, that cash can sometimes be subtracted from their pooled amount later. It's a system dressed in kindness but wired for control. You feel generous. The company feels profitable. There's another quiet money stream hidden in plain sight, the photographs. Every evening, uniformed photographers set up backdrops of palm trees, sunsets, or glittering staircases. They'll wave you over, take your picture, tell you to smile, no obligation, of course. Then the next morning, you walk past the photo gallery and there you are printed on glossy paper, cropped to perfection, tagged with your name. It's flattering, it's personal, and it's $25 a shot. The real genius is emotional timing. They print the photos before you even agree to buy them, knowing that most people can't stand to throw away their own smiling face. It's not about the photo, it's about guilt-engineered nostalgia. By now, you've probably started noticing the pattern. Every experience on board is either monetized or leads directly to something that is. The free theater shows, sponsored by luxury brands, the complimentary wine tasting, ends with a sales pitch for the premium bottle package, the art gallery tours, paid partnerships with third-party vendors who get a commission from every framed print sold. Even the trivia games and raffles are designed to route you toward the shops. The prize, a discount coupon, the real win, your data. Because every time you swipe your cruise card, your spending habits are logged, analyzed, and used to predict your next purchase. It's not just hospitality, it's behavioral science at sea. Slight pause sound of distant waves, ship horn low in background, and yet, amidst all of this, people rarely feel deceived. Because cruise lines are careful not to cross the line between selling and spoiling. They give just enough luxury to make you feel in control, just enough generosity to keep you loyal, the illusion of abundance, balanced on the edge of scarcity. It's a masterclass in human psychology, one built over decades of trial, error, and data. They know exactly when passengers are most likely to buy a spa package, book another cruise, or upgrade a cabin. It's not random. It's a rhythm, a choreography of spending disguised as leisure. Music shifts slightly darker tone, low strings, and for those who think they can resist. There's the future cruise desk. It sits quietly near the atrium, manned by someone with a warm smile and a stack of glossy brochures. On your last 2 days at sea, it suddenly becomes the busiest corner on the ship. Because just when the sadness of going home begins to creep in, they offer you a way to push it away. Book your next cruise now and save. You'll pay a small deposit today, and the discount will be locked in. It sounds harmless, even smart. But here's what's clever. That deposit is rarely refundable, and the discount often applies only to the highest cabin categories. By the time you rebook months later, you'll realize that savings vanished in a fog of fine print. Yet thousands sign up anyway. Why? Because it's not about logic, it's about emotion. They've just spent a week being pampered, entertained, and told they're special. They don't want the feeling to end. So they buy it again in advance. Soft piano returns hopeful, introspective. You begin to see the cruise not as a simple vacation, but as a carefully designed experience economy. a place where happiness is calculated and every smile has a cost. Still, it's hard to be angry, because for all the hidden fees, the overpriced drinks, and the quiet manipulations, you did have moments: the laughter at dinner, the view of endless blue, the calm that only the ocean can give. And maybe that's the greatest rip-off of all, that even when we know we're being played, part of us doesn't care, because in the end, the feeling is worth the price. By mid-week, the ship has already learned who you are. Not your name, not really, but your habits, how many drinks you've ordered, what time you go to breakfast, whether you prefer the pool deck or the quiet lounge on deck 9. Every swipe of your room card feeds a silent network of data that builds a portrait of you. It's not intrusive, it's efficient, or at least that's what you're meant to believe. Behind the scenes, that data fuels another category of spending few passengers ever see: targeted onboard marketing. The moment you walk past a shop, the screen might flash a special discount just for you. You feel lucky, but it's not luck, it's an algorithm that knows you lingered there yesterday. The cruise industry calls it personalization. A more honest word would be prediction. Ambient piano enters reflective tone, and while you're thinking about what souvenir to buy next, the ship is already preparing for its next harvest: shore excursions. They sound harmless, even adventurous: swimming with dolphins, exploring ancient ruins, tasting local cuisine. But these are not just trips. They're another carefully managed profit stream. Every excursion sold through the ship carries a hefty markup, sometimes double the cost of booking the same tour on land. You're told it's about safety, insurance, reliability, and sure, there's truth in that. But it's also about exclusivity, or at least the illusion of it. The guides, buses, and even souvenir shops at the end of the trail often have quiet agreements with the cruise line. A percentage of every ticket, every trinket, flows back to the company. It's a silent partnership, sealed not in ink, but in understanding. Everyone eats, as long as the passenger never knows. If you venture off independently, you'll notice the difference immediately. The same snorkeling trip might cost half. But most people won't risk it. The ship warns about being left behind if your private tour runs late, and that fear is powerful enough to keep most wallets safely open. Sound of waves crashing, gulls calling faintly in distance, then there's a rip-off so small it hides in plain sight: the Wi-Fi. It's 2025, and yet somehow, internet on a cruise ship still feels like it's from 2005. You'll see signs advertising high-speed connectivity and stream-ready packages. You'll pay $20 a day, maybe more, and then you'll watch the loading circle spin like a cruel joke. Here's the truth: bandwidth at sea is limited and expensive. But the cruise line isn't just charging for access, it's charging for isolation. They know you'll pay to stay connected, even when you swore you'd unplug. That digital leash is their most consistent revenue stream. And while you're struggling to send a photo, your data plan quietly renews every midnight, rounding up partial hours into full days. Tiny increments, invisible on the surface, but multiplied by thousands of passengers, they become a fortune. The music lowers introspective voice, another quiet drain hides behind comfort itself. The spa. From the moment you step inside, its serenity, low lighting, citrus-scented towels, gentle voices that call you by name. It feels pure, but each service comes with layers of invisible pricing. A 60-minute massage might last only 50 minutes, with the final 10 reserved for a sales pitch on premium oils or skincare. By the end, you're relaxed and somehow $250 poorer. Even the complimentary thermal suite passes or detox seminars exist to funnel you into upgrades. Some therapists work on commission. They're trained to make you believe luxury is wellness, and wellness is worth any price. Passengers rarely complain, because who wants to sound ungrateful after a massage? Slight pause, wind through corridors, ship creaking softly, but of all the onboard rip-offs, few sting as deeply as medical services. Every cruise has a medical center, small but spotless, always tucked below deck. You'll never notice it until you needed a cut, a fever, a sudden stomach pain. The doctors are competent, the care is real. But the cost, terrifying. A basic consultation can run hundreds of dollars. A few pills for seasickness, 50. An X-ray or blood test, easily 1,000. And it's all billed directly to your onboard account, no negotiation, no insurance coverage until you return home. The cruise line justifies it. You're paying for emergency access at sea. But many of those fees include hefty facility charges, even for short visits. And when passengers realize the total, they're already in too much discomfort to argue. The ocean, after all, is the perfect isolation chamber. Music deepens, adding low cello beyond the ship. The rip-offs stretch to the very ports you visit. The moment you disembark, the air feels different, humid, raw, alive. Street vendors call out, taxi drivers wave, the sound of steel drums or accordions drifts from somewhere unseen. It feels authentic, but many of those souvenir stalls are not local at all. They're pop-ups managed by contracted operators who pay the cruise company a fee for prime space. Even the shops labeled recommended by your ship are part of a deal. Passengers believe they're supporting local economies. In truth, much of that money circles right back to the line's offshore accounts. It's tourism as theater, the appearance of cultural connection, carefully staged, managed for profit. Piano returns, delicate and haunting, and just when you think you've learned to spot the traps, a new one waits, the loyalty program. It starts innocently, points, tiers, exclusive perks. The higher you climb, the more valued you feel, but each level demands more spending, more bookings, more upgrades. The system doesn't reward loyalty, it monetizes it. You begin to plan vacations not around places, but around points. You justify another expensive cabin because it brings you closer to platinum status. And when you finally reach it, you realize the rewards priority boarding, a free cocktail barely justify the cost. Still, it feels good, it feels earned, and that's the genius of it. Cruise loyalty programs sell identity disguised as appreciation. Soft ambient seascape, calm after the storm. It would be easy to call all this manipulation, but it's more complicated than that. Because behind every upsell and every glossy brochure, there are thousands of crew members who depend on the system to survive. For them, these extras mean tips, commissions, stability. They are both victims and participants of the same machinery. And maybe that's why the rip-offs work so flawlessly, because they're wrapped in genuine smiles. It's hard to be cynical when someone remembers your name, brings your coffee just the way you like it, and tells you about their family back home. The illusion feels real because the people delivering it are real. So we keep buying not just experiences, but connection. And that's something no spreadsheet can quantify. There's a point during every cruise when you stop thinking about money. Not because you've stopped spending it, but because you've stopped feeling it. The card around your neck isn't just a room key and a more. It's your identity, your access, your currency. One tap for a drink. Another for a souvenir. A few more for that photo you swore you didn't need. It's frictionless, and that's by design. Cruise lines learned long ago that removing physical money from the equation makes people spend more, up to 40% more, according to their own internal studies. There's no pain of payment, no moment of pause, just the cheerful beep of a card reader and the illusion that the sea will erase the consequences. It's not greed, it's psychology. Piano fades in slow, contemplative notes. Every luxury cruise is a floating experiment in human behavior. From the moment you step on board, the environment begins shaping you, the lighting, the music, even the scent in the hallways. They're all calibrated to evoke one feeling, comfort, because comfort is disarming. And when you feel safe, you let your guard down. That's when spending becomes effortless. Behavioral economists call it the vacation mindset. It's a subtle mental shift where logic takes a backseat to indulgence. You've worked hard, you've saved up, and now you're floating through paradise. You deserve that extra cocktail, that luxury dinner, that just one more excursion. The word deserve is the most powerful currency of all. Music deepens, light cello underneath. Cruise companies understand this better than anyone. They've built an entire emotional economy around the idea that you're not wasting money, you're rewarding yourself. Every purchase is framed as self-care. Every upgrade is a symbol of status, and every add-on, no matter how small, is disguised as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, limited time only, exclusive to your sailing, available for the first 50 guests. Scarcity triggers urgency. Urgency triggers purchase, and before you know it, you're rationalizing indulgence as inevitability. Soft sea winds sound gentle, reflective tone. The environment itself reinforces that illusion. Think about it. The ship is isolated, surrounded by thousands of miles of open water. There's nowhere else to go, no competing options, no sense of the outside world's prices or logic. It's a micro-economy with its own gravity. Time even moves differently at sea. Days blur together. Mornings fade into nights without the usual cues, no office hours, no rush hour, no deadlines. That timelessness creates a soft hypnosis, and in that dreamlike state, spending feels detached from reality. You're not buying things, you're buying feelings. The clink of a glass, the applause in the theater, the warm lights on a deck at midnight. Each of those sensations becomes part of a carefully constructed fantasy, and fantasies are priceless. Music builds slowly cinematic tone. There's another layer most passengers never notice: status psychology. Luxury cruise lines thrive on hierarchy. Cabins are divided into tiers, privileges into levels, and even dining rooms into classes. The moment you see someone escorted to a private lounge you can't enter, a small seed of envy takes root. That envy isn't toxic, it's profitable. It pushes you to spend more next time, to upgrade, to chase that little badge of exclusivity. Even if you never admit it out loud, the system works because it's invisible competition. It's not about being rich, it's about feeling recognized. And when the staff greets someone by name, when they walk past the long line with a smile and a gold card, everyone watching quietly calculates how to get there too. Cruise lines understand this instinct deeply. It's why sweet guests get private elevators, why loyalty tiers have colored lanyards, why small privileges feel like power. The hierarchy is soft, subtle, and endlessly motivating. Sound of ocean waves intensifies briefly, then settles. Then comes escapism, the most seductive force of all. The ocean is infinite, and for a few days you get to believe that you are too. There's no boss, no inbox, no news cycle. Just water, sky, and a curated version of paradise. That's what you're truly paying for. Not the drinks or the shows, but the temporary suspension of reality. Cruise lines sell emotion, not experience, and emotion has no fixed price. The laughter on the pool deck, the smell of sunscreen and salt, the music echoing down the halls, it's all a spell. And as long as the spell holds, logic dissolves. You're not being tricked, you're being soothed. Music fades into quieter tones, heart beat, like rhythm beneath, but somewhere between the ports and the late-night buffets, a quiet truth begins to surface. You realize the cruise isn't just a trip, it's a mirror. It reflects what we crave most: comfort, attention, validation. That's why the rip-offs work so beautifully. They don't sell lies. They sell amplified versions of the truth. We want to feel cared for. We want to feel special. We want to escape. And for 7 days, we're willing to pay for the illusion that those feelings can last forever. It's not manipulation. It's symbiosis. They offer the dream. We offer belief. Soft strings swell emotional, cinematic, but belief fades the moment the ship docks. The music stops. The card in your pocket becomes a useless piece of plastic. You walk down the gangway and back into reality, carrying more luggage and less balance than before. You'll look at the receipt, maybe laugh at how much you spent, maybe promise you'll be smarter next time, but you won't regret it, because deep down you'll remember the moonlit dinners, the endless ocean, the freedom that felt too big to be contained by land. That memory is what the cruise line really sells, the story you'll tell yourself later. The one that starts with, yeah, it was expensive, but it was worth it. Music slowly softens to distant piano, and maybe that's the final twist of the ripoff, that even when we see it clearly, we forgive it. Because in the end, the human heart is willing to trade money for meaning. And at sea, meaning is manufactured with breathtaking precision. So you book again, swearing you'll be wiser, more careful. But as soon as you hear that first ship horn, smell the ocean air, and see the horizon spread out before you, all the logic in the world slips quietly beneath the waves. When the ship returns to port, the illusion slowly unravels. You hear the shuffle of luggage wheels, the low chatter of goodbyes, the sound of reality knocking. The water is still the same deep blue, but something in it feels different now. You know quietly what it all was: a dream built on purchase, a vacation wrapped in persuasion, and yet you smile, because even knowing that doesn't ruin it. If anything, it makes it clearer. You can't avoid every trick, but you can learn to see them, and seeing them changes everything. The first step is awareness. Before you even board, understand that every upgrade, every limited time offer, every exclusive perk is part of the design. And not to punish you, but to keep the machine turning. When you know the pattern, you can step outside of it. Book your excursions directly with trusted local guides. Bring your own essentials: sunscreen, bottled water, even small medications. The markup on board can be shocking. Say no to the automatic photo packages. Use your own camera, capture your own memories. Buy Wi-Fi only if you truly need it, not because you feel disconnected. And always, always check the fine print of those service fees. Each small decision is a wave pushing back against the current. Soft swell of strings, hopeful tone, but maybe the most powerful way to win is not to resist everything. It's to redefine what winning even means, because the real value of a cruise isn't the spa or the jewelry or the steakhouse that costs extra. It's the view from the railing at midnight. It's the laughter over buffet coffee. It's the way the horizon stretches farther than your worries. Those moments are free. They always were. The industry can charge you for comfort, but it can't sell wonder, not really. That part belongs to you, and if you can hold on to that, you've already beaten the system. Music fades to a more emotional piano, steady rhythm like a heartbeat. There's an irony in all of this. The same psychology that makes people overspend is also what makes cruises unforgettable. Our desire to feel special, to escape, to find peace, those are human, timeless needs. Cruise lines didn't invent them. They simply learned to package them. And maybe that's not entirely evil. It's commerce, floating on emotion. It's business dressed as beauty, and sometimes beauty wins. So you keep your balance this time. You pay what you want, not what you're told. You look past the glitter and find something genuine underneath: a sunrise, a stranger's kindness, a quiet sense of perspective. And suddenly, it doesn't feel like a rip-off anymore. It feels like a lesson learned at sea. Music fades almost to silence. You hear only waves and a faint ship's bell. Maybe that's what travel is supposed to do. Not just show us the world, but show us ourselves, the parts that crave too much, hope too much, spend too much, and love it anyway. Because in the end, the ocean takes everything: regret, waste, money, and smooths it into memory. And long after you've gone home, unpacked, and moved on with life, a small part of you will still be there, standing on that deck, hair in the wind, sea in your lungs, watching the horizon burn gold. And you'll whisper, half smiling, maybe it was a rip-off, but it was my rip-off. Music swells one final time, emotional, cinematic, close fade out. Sound of waves, black screen, then one soft voice. If you've ever cruised, what's the one thing you'd never pay for again? And what moment, no matter the price, you'd buy twice? Applause. I'll see you in the next voyage.